Good afternoon for everyone who's joining us. Give us just a couple minutes and we'll get started here in just a few minutes. Please stand by. Alrighty, we will go ahead and get started here. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our afternoon session for our second week of Discovery Festival. We are so happy that you're here. Sorry about the delay. Had some technical issues on our end, but and I have it playing on my phone too. So let me just mute that there. Excuse me. But we are all live and everything's up and going. It looks like all systems are a go right now, which is great. So again, just welcome to the program. My name is Will Tapia. I am the advancement coordinator for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central New Mexico. And normally, outside of a pandemic, I put on our in-person Discovery Festival, which takes place over the course of one day at the Albuquerque Convention Center. It's an awesome, awesome, awesome time. We have 50 plus exhibitors from all various areas of STEAM. It's STEAM, of course, is science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. And we have about 3,000 students all participate on the one day at the Albuquerque Convention Center. So it's a crazy event and a lot of fun, which of course cannot happen this year, unfortunately, due to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. So after some positive responses from our teachers, we have moved that completely online. So here we are online in this virtual arena. So again, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us for this virtual event. This is new for us as it's new for you as well. So we're happy that you're here. Just like some ground rules, if the stream goes down for whatever reason, or if we continue to encounter technical difficulties, I don't think we will, but just in case if we do, please just visit back to our Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central New Mexico YouTube page, and we'll have the stream back up and running shortly. So in case anything happens. Also, since you're watching on YouTube, there's a great little chat function, so you can post inside that chat and post post a comment, post a question, anything like that. Tell us where you're watching from, and I'll be sure to send that over to our presenter this afternoon. I want to do a quick little shout out here to some of our sponsors for this event. This event would not be possible without these wonderful folks. So thank you so much to our Da Vinci's presenting sponsor, Honeywell. Honeywell is going to be presenting, I believe, at the end of this week, and then into next week, we're getting there. We'll have their presentations live on our Discovery Fest NM page here shortly. So stay tuned for that. But thank you so much, Honeywell, for your sponsorship and your participation. let's see here. Also, if I can scroll, there we go. To our wonderful Curie sponsors, Fidelity. They're presenting tomorrow, I believe tomorrow afternoon. So take a look again on our discoveryfestnm.org webpage to see Fidelity Investments. It should be a blast. Fidelity gave a great presentation yesterday on why it's important to save money. They're going to be talking tomorrow on what is credit. So be sure to come check that out. Fidelity is always a blast. They're always a hit every single year. So thank you so much, Fidelity. To our ride sponsors, Aztec Machine and Repair out in beautiful Bloomfield, New Mexico. Thank you, Aztec. And to Air Force Research Laboratories. They're going to be presenting next week on satellites. It's going to be very, very, very cool. We are so excited about that. So thank you, Aztec Machine and Repair, and thank you so much, Air Force Research Laboratories. Finally, to our Newton sponsors, Defense Threat Reduction Agency, Micronet Solutions, Sandia National Laboratories, and Presbyterian. Thank you all so much for your partnership. Okay. There, now that we've got that stuff out of the way, I have 15 windows open, as I think we probably all do right now, trying to navigate them all. But again, so don't forget, throughout the presentation, drop a chat in and I will pop in here as a floating head and ask your questions live on the stream. I see we've got some folks already commenting there in the chat, so welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest for this afternoon, special guest from CNM Aviation Maintenance Technology, Mr. David Ortiz. David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, David, let's see. We got your mic on. Not seeing. There we go. See, the camera's coming on now. There we. Hey, David, how are you?
Good.
Good, good. Awesome. Well, I think the kids are tired of hearing me talk, so I'm going to pass it over to you. And like I said, please, students, use that chat function, and I will ask David your questions live on air. Thanks, David.
Thank you. So I'm just trying to figure out how to get this opened up. Hello, my name is David Ortiz. Again, like you were saying, I'm here at Central New Mexico Community College, and I work in the Aviation Maintenance Technology program. I was wondering, Will, can you hear me? Am I able to?
Yes, I got you.
Okay. I was trying to open up the screen. So again, so I'm just going to be showing a presentation and talk a little bit about what we do here in the aviation maintenance program. Wanted to share. Are you able to see that PowerPoint, Will?
No, I'm not seeing any PowerPoint on my end, David.
Sorry, I'm new at this. 1 second.
So if you're trying to share a video, there we go. Okay, now I'm seeing your screen.
You able to see that?
Yep, I got that.
Okay, good. So anyways, so we're with the School of Applied Technology here in the Aviation Technology program. And what we do is we certify students and prepare them to take the FAA exams to become certified aircraft mechanics. And again, the program is set up to give a basic educational program to get you prepared to go out in the aviation industry. What we do is, again, this is a 5-term program here at CNM. And then there's a few pages here that go up through the different classes that we provide. These classes are regulated by the FAA. We have 5 terms. It's 18 months for the AMP certification. And we also offer a 6th term with basic eds to also provide you with an associate's degree to go along with that AMP certification. So what we do here is prepare students for the airframe power plant certification required by the FAA. The entire program with associate's degree is 2 years or 18 months for the AMP classes. Our typical schedule runs Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We are required to provide you with 1,905 hours total to get that certification. We are one of the most affordable programs in the country. Thanks to the CNM and the state of New Mexico, we're able to keep the costs under at least around under $6,000, which also comes with a snap-on tool set, which costs about $2,000. So again, one of the goals that we provide here is to prepare you to take these written and oral and practical exams. At the end of the program, you'll be required to take a test that is provided by the FAA. So a big part of our program is to get you prepared for that test. Once you pass that test, then you will get a certification from the FAA certifying you to work on aircraft. And when we talk about aircraft, we're talking about any type of aviation aircraft that's out there, from the big 747s to the small general aviation planes like Cessnas and Pipers, to helicopters, and it goes on and on. What this AMP does is it prepares you to go out in industry where you're going to learn how to become an aircraft professional. Like I say, here in this program, we're going to provide you with all the basics you need, not to just take that test, but to get you ready for industry.
And David, we did have a question come in, if I could jump in real quick.
Sure.
So we have a question from one of the students asking, what is a regular day like for an aircraft mechanic?
So depending on what you get into, the aviation industry is so wide as far as once you get your AMP. I'll talk a little bit about my experience. I became an AMP. I went to school in Colorado and got my AMP certification in 2003. I then was hired by Lockheed Martin Aeronautics in Fort Worth, Texas, where I went on to build F16 fighter jets and F-22 fighter jets for the military. So I was a heavy structure mechanic for that company. I then moved back here to Albuquerque to work at Eclipse Aviation, building Eclipse 500 jets for that industry. So a typical day, depending on what you do, I was building new aircraft, but other technicians are working on aircraft engines, working on small aviation planes, doing maintenance on those planes. And basically our job is to go out and make airplanes safe. The FAA regulates us, heavily regulates us to assure that we do perform our work safely and good quality. So a typical day, again, is just going out and doing a professional job to assure that once people are out flying their airplanes, they will land and go home safely.
Mm-hmm. And is that how you got into aircraft mechanics?
It was just something that I always liked. I'm from Silver City, New Mexico originally. I worked in the mines till I went to AMP school in 2002. But I always had an interest in aviation. I do have several relatives that are aircraft mechanics. So again, I decided to transfer over and go to school for my AMP license. yeah, that's what piqued my interest in it. Also, being around airplanes and being around the planes I was around, like fighter jets, was really an inspiration for me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Let's see. I think we had another one come in here. Let's take a look. So yeah. So where do most of your students work after they get certified?
So again, this page right here that I'm showing kind of shows what some of the employers here in Albuquerque area, Bodie Aviation, Del Sol, 10 Tanker, AirSail, Customs, Ameriflight. These are companies here locally that have hired our students right out of school. Right now, one of our biggest employers for our students is AirSail out of Rio Rancho. They're a component manufacturer. They work on landing gear for heavy jets. And 10 Tanker firefighter aerial airplanes. They fly DC-10s, and they've hired several of our students to go work for them, maintaining those firefighter airplanes that you can see on this page. We've also had students that have gone to work for Virgin Galactic. We have 2 female students that went to work for Virgin Galactic, working on the spaceships that'll be flying people to outer space, hopefully later on early next year, the middle of next year. It looks like they're projecting to be flying people out to space here really soon. So we've had a really good outturn for our students going to work out of our program. We also just made a partnership with Ascend Aviation, who are going to be opening a large facility in Roswell, New Mexico. Early next year, late next year, they're looking to hire at least 300 aircraft maintenance technicians to work in Roswell. This is a company that's out of Tucson, Arizona. So they are looking for technicians to go out to Arizona also.
Awesome. Thank you.
Here in this page, it's just showing the instructional staff here. Our program director is Mr. Jeremy Frick. He's been an A&P mechanic for around 16 years. He's worked on maintenance, working on beach aircraft, working on jet aircraft. Here locally, he worked for Cutter Aviation. Our other full-time instructor is Jim Hernandez. He's also an A&P. He's got 30 plus years experience. He worked for GE Engines, also in maintenance. And then me, I'm the instructional tech, and I'm the part-time instructor here at CNM. And I've been doing this for about 17 years now. And again, my a big portion of my experience was building aircraft, brand new aircraft. Here I'm just going through some of the pictures of some of our students, our graduates that have gone out. We have a big diversity of students that come here to work, all different ages, from 19 years old all the way up to over 60, 65-year-olds that are taking our program, becoming certified mechanics. Some of these older mechanics are leaving here because they own their own aircraft and they want to perform maintenance on their own airplanes. This particular photo here is a F16 that we took our students out to the Nuclear Science Museum here in Albuquerque, and we restored an F16 fighter jet for the museum, and just some of the programs that we get into for to give our students some real world application work. The gentleman you see here in the uniforms are actually in the Air Force Air Force pilots that fly the F-16s. Again, this is just some stuff they gave us. The flying tacos were a flying squadron out of Kirkland Air Force Base. which is this aircraft is dedicated to them due to that squadron that was here in Albuquerque. Here, we also thrive to get women in aviation, trying to push for that industry to show that, you know, we do want, the industry is looking for more, to get more females involved in aviation maintenance. These particular females here have gone on to win these awards through the Women in Non-Traditional Careers. They were able to get awards from this program, and also able to get scholarships through this particular Women in Non-Traditional Careers website through AWAM. We provide several different scholarships for students. They're able to go out and get actual training that they can take with them throughout their career. These two particular gentlemen got one scholarships to go out. One went to Las Vegas and one went out to, I believe, in Kansas to get certified in these particular fields where they went to. You have any questions out there, Phil? I mean, Will?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. we have a couple questions that came in. So one student wants to know if you've ever been in or ever flown inside of an F-16.
No, I haven't. I wish I could have. As we were building the F-16s in Fort Worth, we worked on a large military base where we were building these aircraft. So every day we got to go out for lunch and actually watch an air show of the planes that we were actually building, putting out on the line. So no, I never got to as much as I wanted to, but we got to see the planes that I was actually building and helping build. There was a workforce of about 15,000 technicians working at Lockheed at that particular time. And so we got to see live air shows every day of those planes that we were building.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very cool. And kind of as a follow-up from your earlier point, so people from your program, this question asks, so you can work on spaceships?
Yes, the industry, again, the certification you get is allows you to go out and sign off work that you're doing on aircraft. But getting the certification is we call it a license to learn. And basically what it is employers in the industry bring in these new technicians to train them to work on whatever aircraft they're working on. A&P technicians are also go out and work on hot air balloons, because you have to be a certified A&P to sign off work on hot air balloons. So you imagine how big the balloon industry here in Albuquerque is. But we've had A&Ps that I've worked with that have actually gone on to work for NASCAR, because NASCAR is a aerodynamic built race car, and they bring in A&P technicians because we have that technology on working on sheet metal and building aerodynamical vehicles. So A&Ps are something that NASCAR likes to hire to become technicians on their in their groups. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what you get into and what you like. I have friends that work just solely on large aircraft engines. They become engine technicians. So they're working on these big engines for the big, like 747, 737, 757s. So it just depends. It's a license to learn. And what I tell my students here is that once you get this certification, once you get certified and get out there, you're going to learn what you like and what you love about aviation. Me getting into working on building brand new aircraft that became my trade, and I really love doing it. But again, it depends on where you want to go. Our certification can take you around the world. I have friends that have gone to work in Dubai, they've gone to work in Afghanistan, you name it. That A&P certification is just a door for you. It's a open door for you to go out and see the world.
That's amazing.
And then
And
that's something that I also always tell my students, that you need to be ready to get up and go and get that experience, because it's out there. You just have to go out and find it. And they're willing to hire AMPs right now. They're looking at a massive shortage of AMPs and pilots as well, especially because of the COVID-19 pandemic has really hurt the aviation industry. But when it does, they're projecting 2024 to come back big for the aviation industry, and they're going to need to hire tons of mechanics and pilots to get that industry back up and running at its full capacity.
that's amazing. Yeah. So it's, I mean, there's a lot of groundwork, I think, for the students who might want to look into that that program for future possibilities, right?
Oh yeah.
And what about, so another question came in asking, what's the coolest thing that you've worked on personally?
Well, the coolest thing I ever worked on, honestly, was back in 2003, they started working on the new F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. And this is an aircraft that, I don't know if some of you have seen the Joint Strike Fighter, but it actually can take off vertical and land vertical on not only on an airstrip, but also on an air carrier and for the Navy.
Wow.
We started building that aircraft, started coming in pretty brand new. When I was there, I got to do a little bit of training on when they started building it, but I was working on also on the F-22 Raptor that's being built for only the militaries in the United States. That's a stealth fighter that's built only for the U.S. military. So that was also a really cool jet that I got to work on. So for me, it was working on those fighter jets. Working on military fighter jets was the coolest thing. Probably the best part for me was working in an area where we were installing the Gatling gun on the F-16s. So that was also a really cool part for me, working on that part of the aircraft.
That's neat. Well, and I guess kind of off of that same question, another student wants to know what your favorite plane is.
My favorite plane is the F-16 fighter, F-16 Falcon. Second to that, the A-10 Warthog. But yeah, the military jets are the coolest for me, because they're just bad to the bone and fast.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so another question is asking if car engines are similar to airplane engines.
They actually are. So the small aircraft, like and I'll try and go to a picture of some that we have here. This particular aircraft here have what we call right here. Here's a couple of trainers. Can you see those?
Yeah.
So these two right here, this is a Lycoming 4-cylinder. This is called a Lycoming 0320. And the one next to it, the yellow one, is Lycoming IO 540. These two particular trainers are actually aircraft engines. And this one here, this particular engine here will put out about 110 horsepower. This one here will put out about 270 horsepower. These are reciprocating engines. They do have pistons, just like a car. The difference between an aircraft engine and a car engine, the biggest difference is that they're not cooled. They're not water cooled. If you go to your car and you open up the hood, you'll have a radiator which runs coolant to help cool the engine during operating times. An aircraft engine, because aircraft flies up in atmosphere, and as you go up higher in atmosphere, it's going to get really cold up there. These are cooled by air. So that's one of the biggest differences between a car engine and an aircraft engine.
Interesting.
And these are just aircraft that we have in our fleet, part of our fleet here in our school. This is inside our main hangar. This is a Beechcraft. This is a twin engine plane. This has two of those this has two 0470s on it, engines. This particular engine here that I'm circling here, this is actually a turboprop engine. This is a turbine engine right here. This particular engine, this is a CF6-50. This engine right here is an engine that is inside the DC-10, which I was talking about earlier. The 10 tanker flies DC-10 aircraft to go and fight fire, to dump fire retardant on fires. They donated this engine to us, so this is the engine that's inside that plane. This thing puts out about 50,000 pounds of torque. This is just some pictures of what that aircraft looks like. This is our helicopter. This also has a reciprocating engine, like just like in your car. That's what's inside this helicopter. Any other questions?
Let's see here. Let's take a look. We got a funny question. One of the students wants to know if you've ever shot a Gatling gun.
No, I have not.
It's funny.
But that's a good bucket list.
Yeah, well, now you got to do one off an F16, I think, with these questions we've been getting. And so what makes fighter planes so fast? One student would like to know.
Well, it's the turbine engines in them. These engines that are in these planes are the turbojet that's in that particular aircraft puts out about 50,000 pounds of thrust, which is just a massive amount of power, or a massive amount of air that's being forced out the tail of that engine, which is pushing it forward, or I should say thrusting it forward and making it fast. Basically that's the why it does it. It compresses air so tight and pushes it out and burns it, which gives it that rocket sound. And basically these planes are just flying rockets through the sky.
Wow, that's amazing. That's all the questions that I see so far on the chat.
Okay. This I do have a little a video I wanted to show. See if I could get this to pull up. This particular this is that IO 540 that I was talking about, and I just have a picture of a video of it running. Just wanted to show you guys that. Again, this particular engine came out of a airplane. It's an RV-10 airplane, and it puts out about 270 horsepower. Let's see if I get it to play here. So that particular engine, right, it might not look like it, but that prop is turning at about 2,000 RPMs. Just the way the video looks, it's kind of weird, but.
Wow. And we did get another question coming in about the propellers. So do fighter planes have propellers on them?
No, absolutely not. That's fighter planes fly basically on pure thrust. When I say thrust, that's there's a little term we use in aviation when we talk about like turbine engines. Basically you're pulling in air, you're compressing it really tight. Once it gets compressed to a certain amount, we add fuel to it, and then we add spark to it, and then it explodes. When that explosion happens inside that engine, it forces it into a turbine, which turns that turbine really fast, and then it exhausts out the back. So basically that massive amount of hot air coming out the back is thrust that pushes that aircraft out. So when they started building jet airplanes, that did away with having to use a propeller. A propeller is providing thrust just by turning that propeller around. You're providing thrust, pulling that aircraft, pushing it through the sky.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds very technical, and one student is wondering if you have to use math for this field.
Yes. The first class, if you go inside that PowerPoint, one of the first classes that we give, one of your first classes is aviation math. The hardest part about the math is it's pretty much basic algebra. If you can multiply, add, multiply, divide, fractions, if you know how to work with fractions, that's probably one of the biggest parts about the math. It's not very hard. We do require that you do have a certain level of math when you come to CNM. You'll have to take an assessment test, which will tell you if you're at the level that we want you to be, so that you can come here and not struggle with the math. But again, it's a basic algebra, basically. Also knowing how to do calculations to figure out voltage and current and resistance when you're working with electricity, deals with math. Weight and balance, getting the center of gravity for an airplane. You got to do calculations to make sure that that aircraft is weighted and balanced correctly so that it flies straight, and also so that it flies, so that it does fly. So yes, math is a part of our program, but it's not very difficult math. Basic algebra is probably the hardest it gets. You're muted.
There we go. Sorry about that. I always have to do that at least once a day, I think, on these. But so a question that came in as well was asking, so you said that airplanes are cooled by the air that passes through, through the engine. So if an airplane is not flying, will it overheat?
Well, no. Well, yes, it can. But you remember that when that propeller is turning, it's providing air through the engine. So it's always gonna, as long as that propeller is turning, it's what it's doing is it's forcing air back. That air that's being forced back around over the aircraft is actually making it go forward, but it's also providing cooling air over the engine. So the engines that have cowlings on it, and what I mean by a cowling is the cover of the hood, basically the hood of the airplane. Try and find a little picture here real quick. So the engine here will have a cowling around it, which will force air to go through the cylinders. So all these cylinders have cooling fins on them, which will kind of trap that air and run that cool air through the fins, which helps cool the engine. Also, what they're doing is it's running that oil lines are running through here, which is also helping cool the oil, which also helps cool the engines as well.
Okay, great. And on that piece about the engine, so this question, the student's wondering if planes have spark plugs.
Yes, they do. The reciprocating engines, like that yellow one I just showed you, does have spark plugs. The cool thing about airplanes is that it has double spark plugs, so to say, for redundancy. What I mean by redundancy is that it kind of has two electrical systems in it, so that if one fails, it has another one. So each cylinder on that engine will have a spark plug that runs 6 spark plugs that run on top and 6 spark plugs that run on bottom. And each one is being fired individually by a mechanism called a magneto. Magneto is what provides the spark to the spark plugs. And you have 2 magnetos in an engine, so that if one fails, there's another one that's still operating to keep the engine running. and that's called, they do that for redundancy,
Mm.
safety, basically.
Mm. Yeah, and it's funny. I think everything that you're mentioning, I think, fits right into the questions we've been getting. Another student was asking, what keeps the plane engines from breaking down mid-flight? I think that kind of fits into that redundancy you're talking about, right?
That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mechanic. That's our job, to maintain those planes and maintain those engines so that they fly safe all the time. I tell my students here, because we have to do such a good job, and we're heavily regulated by the FAA, that they make sure that we do a good job. If you don't do a good job, then that airplane can actually come down and kill people. So you can imagine how much attention to detail you have to have when you're working on an airplane. I tell my students, when you're working on somebody's airplane, think about it. When you're driving your car down the freeway and your check engine light comes on and your car stops, you pull over on the side of the road, and either you fix it or you call a tow truck to take it away. We can't park a plane on a cloud to fix it. If you do something on that engine, you don't do a good job, you don't pay attention to what you're doing, and that engine does fail, there's a consequence to that. So we make sure that our students who want to be aircraft mechanics have that discipline to go out and work on airplanes, always professional and always to the highest quality standards.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's really great. Let's take a look. David, I think that might be all the questions that we have. I'm not seeing any more come in. If some of the students want to learn more about this program, where can they check out that information, and we can post it inside our YouTube chat for them to visit?
I was going to try and send my business card to you. I tried putting it on the PowerPoint, but it couldn't read it for some reason. It didn't scan good. But what I can do is I will actually email you my information. I'll email you my business card.
Great. Okay.
So that you can send it out. But anytime you're interested in you want to talk about the aviation program, just call CNM. Call CNM at 505-224-4000 and ask to speak to somebody in the aviation maintenance program. You can ask for me, David Ortiz, and I'm always available to speak to anybody that wants to know about the program. We try and start a new program every fall. Right now, we're actually doing some face-to-face due to the COVID situation, but our students are coming in to do lab work because they have hands-on work that they have to do to get the certification. So we are following a COVID protocol here, wearing masks, keeping distance, doing what we have to here, disinfecting all our tools and equipment. But we are providing some face-to-face here in the program. So we're looking to start, it's possible we might start a new class this spring, but we'll have more information on that. Always keep an eye on the CNM website. And again, this PowerPoint, I can also email that to you, so you can provide that to anybody that's interested.
Great. Yeah.
That way, you'll have that information, and they can always contact me here.
Yeah.
We're always looking to keep students coming in, and just to know, this has been an amazing career for me. Again, I worked in the mines for about 12 years before I got into aviation. It was a great change for me to get out of that industry into the aviation industry. Most mechanics that you do talk to love what they do. Salary, just real quick, salary ranges in the aviation industry range from, if you stick around here in Albuquerque, you're probably looking at $15 an hour as a fresh mechanic, and anywhere from there to $50-$60 an hour working on large jets.
Mm.
So there's a wide range of salary and a huge career base for students coming in and leaving this program. Another thing just to know, we do have partnerships with Embry-Riddle and also Eastern New Mexico University in Portales and Roswell. If you want to pursue beyond an associate's degree, all of our credits, around 60 some of our credits that you get with this program and the associate's degree, can transfer over to those programs, and then you can pursue either a bachelor's degree or also up to masters as far as they go. So we're accredited here, and our credits do transfer over to these bigger schools for higher education.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really great. Okay, awesome. So you heard David. If you have any further questions, want his contact info, or want to take a review of these slides, let me know and I can send that over to you. David, I think that's all that we have from the students. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No. Again, just keep an ear out for us. And again, if you're interested, please contact me as soon as possible. And I will send my information to Will. But you can contact me anytime, and I'm here to speak to anybody who wants to. So again,
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to us, and let's keep those planes flying.
Great. Yeah. Thanks so much, David.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. So big thanks to David Ortiz and all the folks there at CNM in the aviation maintenance technology school. We're so happy to have you on the program. And just a reminder, we do have lots of more exciting and awesome presentations for the rest of this month. We have Fidelity Investments coming back on tomorrow. We have Virgin Galactic, which is really cool, coming in and for our 9:30 a.m. hour tomorrow morning. David was talking about Virgin Galactic, of course, and how he had some students who work for them now. So it's a really neat tie-in and great segue. So tomorrow morning, Virgin Galactic will be on the program. They're going to be talking about spaceships, building spaceships, sending people up into outer space. It's going to be super, super cool. So please don't forget to check out that presentation with the live stream link on our website, discoveryfestnm.org. Let's see, what other announcements do I have? I think that might be everything, ladies and gentlemen. Wanted to give one final shout out and one final thank you to all our amazing sponsors for our Discovery Festival. What you're seeing right now would not be possible without these wonderful folks. Without Honeywell, without Fidelity Investments, Aztec Machinery Repair, AFRL, and then all the other wonderful sponsors you see there at the bottom of your screen. Thank you so much for your partnership. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. And just a final reminder, we have our virtual STEM Fair and Art Expo that is wrapping up this Friday. We are accepting submissions until this Friday. Remember, every student who participates in the event is registered to win a new Xbox Series S. Very cool, very exciting. We also have other great prizes like Chromebooks, Jump Party Passes, coffee shop passes, all kinds of really super fun stuff. So be sure to check it out. Have a good one, everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. with Virgin Galactic. Take care.